Hello and welcome back. Thank you very much for jumping on and watching these videos. I do really appreciate it. And today what we're talking about is hypertrophy, aka muscle building. And this is something that I used to get so wrong. I used to think that there was a one size fits all approach with hypertrophy, that you just needed to copy the bodybuilders and you would get the same results and you would look big, but also you would be stronger on the field and everything like that. But really it's a lot more complex than that. So what I hope to do in this video is break it down and kind of simplify it for you, especially for athletes. I think this is something that a lot of people get wrong because we just see obviously the bodybuilders doing it and we think that's the best way to build muscle and will translate into our performance, but there's a little bit more to that, okay? So what I want to do is help you to understand that there is two types of muscle building or hypertrophy that we can do here. There's sarcoplasmic hypertrophy, which essentially is looking at increasing the density of the sarcoplasm that's within the muscle, and essentially that will just lead to you increasing your size. So how you can do that and how you often see bodybuilders training is doing higher reps, so 8 to 12 reps at around 60 to 80%, and giving yourself 60 to 90 seconds rest. Now this is useful for maybe the younger athlete who has zero muscle and maybe just needs to put on a little bit of density and a little bit of size, and is not necessarily going after strength gains. But essentially this is just filling the muscle with blood and working in increasing the density of the sarcoplasm, which is within the muscle. So you'll see that a lot of guys will get really big in the off season perhaps, but then whenever they're doing their strength testing, their strength necessarily hasn't gone up, and that is due to just increasing the sarcoplasm within the muscle, because that's not actually improving our contractile units, which are going to be used, which are going to really give us them added benefits in our strength as well. So ideally we want to improve our contractile elements and increase the amount of contractile units we have, because that's what's going to give us the return on investment in our strength gains, okay? So that is the first one, okay? So sarcoplasmic hypertrophy. And again, if you want to do that, if it's something that you need to do at the very start, again, you're going to be looking at higher reps, a little bit lower intensity, and giving yourself a little bit shorter rest periods to really drive them adaptations there. The second one then is going to be myofibril hypertrophy, and this is going to be more suitable to those athletes who are really looking to maybe improve their size, so get bigger, but also improve their strength, which is essentially going to be, you know, a really important performance indicator for us. And we really want to always be chasing to get stronger, you know, relative to our own body weight, because that's going to allow us to be more powerful, and our strength will translate into increasing our power on the field and being more explosive, and also being able to withstand tackles, etc. So this style of hypertrophy is a lot more suitable to especially contact athletes, team sport athletes, and all of that. So essentially what myofibril hypertrophy is going to be, it's going to be increasing the amount of contractile units we have within the muscle. So essentially if we have more contractile units, we're then going to be able to recruit them more, because there's more amount of them, so there's a greater opportunity to actually recruit them and lift heavier weights, because every time we try and contract the muscle, or we have to push a weight off us, that's trying to recruit as many contractile units as possible to help us lift that weight. So the more contractile units we have within the muscle, the greater recruitment, and therefore we'll be able to lift the weight and get that weight off us. So this is why it's really important that we look at this style of hypertrophy, rather than, let's say, always going after sarcoplasmic, I don't know why I say sarcoplasmic reticulum, sarcoplasmic hypertrophy, but this one again is going to be more specific, especially if you are looking to, maybe, you know, you're in the off season now and you're looking at, right, I want to do a strength block or a power block later down the road. Then I would look at, and you know that you want to build muscle before that, then I would be looking at this one as a hypertrophy block, you know, around now or December time, and then you're going into your strength phase after Christmas. So As I said, that's going to be increasing the amount of actual motor units within the muscle and contractile units. So that's going to give us greater recruitment and increase our strength. Now, how can we do that? How can we actually train for myofibrillar hypertrophy? That's going to be looking slightly at the lower end of the rep range within hypertrophy reps. Okay, so it's going to be 6 to 8 reps. And it's going to be slightly more intense, so you're going to be lifting heavier weights. That's going to be at 80 to 85% intensity, so 80 to 85% of your 1 rep max. So let's say you're looking at your 1 RM on back squat, or on bench press is 100 kilos for easiness sake. Then 80% would be 80 kilos, okay? And you're going to try and lift that for 6 to 8 reps. Then the rest periods are going to be a little bit longer because the intensity is higher and you want to be able to actually get the most out of them sets. So it's going to be 90 seconds to 2 minutes. So you can see the big difference here. Generally, whenever we're talking about hypertrophy in a general sense, the rep ranges are going to be from 6 to 12 reps. And as you can see, the sarcoplasmic hypertrophy is going to be at the upper end of that rep range, and myofibrillar hypertrophy is going to be at the lower end of that rep range. Similarly, with hypertrophy, the general consensus is from 60 to 85%. So again, you're splitting it in half. Myofibrillar is going to be on the upper end in terms of intensity, because you want to lift heavier, because you're only doing it for less volume. And similarly, sarcoplasmic is going to be at the lower end, okay? So very, very useful breakdown. This was something I got totally wrong whenever I was growing up as an athlete. I literally used to copy bodybuilders and think that that would improve my performance on the pitch. And just because I could get bigger, I thought that would directly translate into performance. But that is not always the case. Maybe you need to get bigger, that's 100%. So you can incorporate a little block of this, but always you want to be, if you want to get bigger, you also want to get stronger, because just getting bigger for the sake of it, you might look great on the beach, you might look great in the nightclubs, but again, we want to improve our performance on the pitch at the end of the day. So we can do both here, and myofibrillar hypertrophy will be your go-to. So look, hopefully that was helpful, nice, short and sharp, and hopefully informational for yourself. As I say, if you have any other questions around these topics, please just drop a comment below, drop us a DM. We'll be more than happy to answer your questions, and we will be putting up a post later this week around our last intake before Christmas, because the academy is pretty much at capacity now. So if you want to get involved before Christmas, make sure you drop us a message in the next week and we'll sort you out. Thank you very much for joining me, and I will catch you in the next one.